Hey y'all, good evening. How's everybody's week been? As I try to figure out how to say words. So, the request I was going to do tonight, I never got their Google permissions. Like they linked a, yeah, it's a face rig. We're testing it out. Shoot, brain is just not working tonight. I'm so sorry. That request, I never got their Google permissions for. So I am gonna grab my request form. If anybody wants to do a request, I'll take one or two. So tonight I am giving away a watercolor confection set. So I need to get that raffle set up for you guys as well. Ah, thanks, Princess Pie. Yeah, they'd uploaded their reference to Google Drive and they never gave me permission to access it. You have to, that's a setting. Yeah, it's a Google Doc. So I am, like I said, giving away one of these. It's this one because this is the unopened one. One of these Prima Marketing Watercolor Confections watercolor sets. I'd originally ordered, well, I thought I ordered one from Amazon and they sent me two. So they have really cute pastel colors and I'm going to swatch them for you guys live during the stream. But I have one to share. And I thought this could be a really fun opportunity to do that. I also had a request, although I don't necessarily think that person's in the stream right now. They wanted to see how these sort of swirly colored, multicolored pencils, how those handle. So I'm going to do that as well. I have quite a few of the different multicolor pencil sets. So I'm going to go ahead and get a Rafflecopter raffle set up and we'll do that before the end of the stream tonight. Actually, I should turn off my... Oh, it's not what I want. That's what I want. Oh, Rafflecopter is not going to let me do it the way I want to do it. Hey again. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to set up a giveaway to give this away. Okay, so I have another request that was sent in, and this is what the link brought up. It does not seem to be showing up.
It doesn't show up if you have OBS open. If you
Can
don't
y'all
have OBS,
can you see it? It's a
you have OBS open.
it's a Pinterest page.
Oh wait. Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so whoever sent this in as a request, can you help me out a little bit? Are these your characters? Do you want me to draw them? Hey, Princess Pie. What do you want for this? Do you want are these your OCs? Do you want me to redraw them? Give me a little bit more info. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I was so busy setting up like a million things, I missed that. So I appreciate you letting me know. Oh, cool. Oh, I'm glad I can be inspiration to you. And thank you for telling me. Okay, so we have two cuties. How do I want to draw them? I assume they're either sisters or best friends. Oh, wait, I need to not do that. Give me one sec. Okay. It says 31 days left.
It doesn't matter. Can you just close it?
Actually, hey, Catherine, good evening. That's awesome, Princess Pie. I'm glad to draw every day. That is really important. What sort of stuff do you normally like to draw? Oh, I want them to do the heart thing with their hands. Let me see if I can find good reference for that. The talking kitty is something called, or part of something called Face Rig. So I have a secondary camera set up, and all it's doing is recording my face to provide information for Face Rig. And the kitty is just one of many different avatars you can kind of use. And we were just kind of testing that out tonight. We paid for it a while back and meant to use it on the channel and haven't, because I wanted to make an avatar and I've just haven't had time to do it. So the kitty will be my avatar. Find good apps to help you. Give me a sec. Focusing on world sites like pyramids. Yeah, actually, Line of Action has some good stuff. Yeah, thanks, Kino Kitsune. I did a list yesterday of good resources since I'm teaching a class now. Line of Action has figure drawing, animals, hands and feet, expressions, and then scenes and environments. And since I can't see their faces, I'm going to kind of design their faces, if that's okay. Unless you've got like another reference, and then I can work from that. Okay, I can actually pull it in a little bit. Please stay? It will not stay. It says no. Sorry.
You can visually zoom with nothing else.
How would I do that?
The easiest way might just be to open up the Logitech camera setting.
Wait. Am I streaming comics? No, I'm doing a character request right now. Oh my gosh, I do watercolor comics, so the idea of streaming comics is like, maybe someday. I can't fit my pages on my desktop right now. But if you're interested in people who stream their comics, I know Kino Kitsune has on occasion streamed their comic process. Oh, no, no problem at all. And I'm glad you like those. I don't know that anybody else does. I wouldn't mind doing them again here or there. It's just hard to record them because I paint, like, if you guys are interested, I can show you what I'm working on. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, so when I'm working on comic pages, I usually paint at, and let me make sure this is actually showing up. Yeah. Okay, so I usually paint at 11 by 14 or 11 by 15. And I strap it to keep it from buckling all over the place. I strap it to a big sheet of corrugated plastic. So you can see just one of these takes up my desk, right? Well, I usually paint 3 at a time to make it a little more time effective, or, you know, and time economical, I guess. And then I have all my paint spread out too, so I can't, doing it at my desk is just not going to happen. There's just not enough room. So these are the ones I'm working on, and honestly, they should be finished, but they're not because they've been taking a really long time. But I'm hoping to get them done really soon. I have like 10 pages left to paint in chapter 8, and 8 is the last chapter before well, no, I'm doing a bonus chapter, but 8 is the last watercolor chapter of volume 2. Hey, can you set up a Rafflecopter raffle?
Yeah, the Rafflecopter's already set up. But
Okay.
you
Is that
wanna
good
do
to
that,
use?
so, yeah, sure.
What's the thing? What's the question?
Whatever you set it to.
That is, none of this is what I want. I'm sorry. Ah, thank you guys. They are really time consuming, and I will probably never do another watercolor comic that I'm paying for out of my own pocket ever again. Because that is, I've been doing it for 8 years now, and that's a little bit too long. To be working on a single comic and not have more progress made on it than I do. Oh, it's so hard to do little heart hands with chibis because their hands are so big, or the way I draw them, their hands are so big. Like, it's not going to read as a heart. I need to make it more hearty. A hearty heart. So I don't like how I drew their hands. They're a little bit too close to each other and maybe a little too big to really work as hearts. So I put on a post-it note so I can do my corrections. And I need to mail everybody's stuff. Well, I need to mail everybody's stuff out So I need people's mailing addresses so that I can, for the people who I'm sending just sketches to, so I can get them a mail quote. But I think in the future, if I'm mailing sketches, I'm just going to do like a $5 tip me on Patreon kind of thing, and it'll cover anything except for international travel. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Oh, thank you, Madeline. I'm really happy to hear that. I think we're from the same generation, Hunter, or I don't know. I'm from like rural Louisiana, so some of those prejudices kind of stuck around longer. In fact, in like 2013, I went to donate no, it had to be 2015. I went to donate a copy of 7-Inch Kara to the library I'd grown up going to, and they took it, but I found out later they'd thrown it in the garbage, and one of my high school friends salvaged it because she was working there as a shelver. She salvaged it for me and managed to get it on the shelf. But they were very anti-comics there for a really long time. And unfortunately, that's starting to change. Yeah, I was really angry, like really angry when I found out because I pay for my books out of pocket, so it was a waste of my money and a waste of my time. And yeah. But you know what? At that same library, just a few weeks ago, I taught a class on writing comics. So things are coming along. Yeah. Well, it was more like the old librarians who were there didn't think, they thought comics were like just garbage and like not actual books, and like, you know, you're actually preventing kids from learning to read and all this really stupid stuff. And I'd done my thesis on how comics for kids actually help reinforce literacy. So like I wish they'd have said it to my face so that I could like be like, here is like 30 books worth of evidence that means you're wrong. But like whoever responds well to that, like they would have just like ignored it. They needed to retire so that change could actually happen. Well, let me put it this way. They were librarians there when I was a kid, so I thought they'd be excited to see that one of their patrons grew up and made books, but no. And I'm 33, so they've been there a long time. If you can't update your attitude to fit the needs of, you know, the people who are using your library, using your service, then it's probably time to retire. A 100? No, but definitely pushing 70. Oh, what, this drawing? I'm probably going to put it up after the stream ends. BRB. That pencil just refuses to hold a point. I've sharpened it 4 times now. I just went ahead and dragged the whole trash can over here with me. Sorry about that. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Inside Out Complex. I think depending on where you live in the country, some areas are better than others when it comes to like having comics in your classroom and comics in your library. And there's also been a lot of people really pushing for comics to be seen as actual literature, actual, you know, like it's a book. And then there's also a lot of librarians and teachers who are also pushing for that or have really embraced it, and they're writing like course curricula for it. So, you know, there's resources out there for teachers who are interested in learning more about comics, to kind of dip their toes in without having to be comic fans themselves. So, like, just because I had bad experiences doesn't mean that's forever. I'm really happy to see it change. Oh no. Also, thank you, Catherine. No, we're not hanging out for 3 hours like last week. That was because I was doing an alcohol marker commission, and when I'm messing with alcohol markers, I don't like to stop in the middle of it. And since that was a commission, I wanted to get it finished on camera so that Tyra could, you know, like enjoy the whole process. Oh, that's awesome, Tyra. Well, go get a sketchbook, Catherine. Start drawing. Draw along with me. I do not have like a 3-hour stream in me. Not tonight. But I really appreciate those of you who hung out with me for that whole time, because I know that's a stretch. Or just for any amount of time, I still appreciate the company. Also, if there's anything you guys want to see me draw or demonstrate tonight, let me know. I am happy to oblige. Originally, one of my students from my Making Comics and Zines class was going to come in, and I was going to cover the stuff they'd missed in the first class, but they aren't able to make it. So I kind of changed what I'm going to be covering tonight. Oh, cool. Hey, can you take a picture of it, Tyra, and pop a link in here? I want to see it, especially considering it's oil painting. Joseph, are you seriously telling me to draw that, or are you suggesting someone else draw it and draw along? You don't know. Why not? Well, put that in for next week. And I'll tell you guys what. Should I wait? Should I pick the winner of the palette at 9? Or should I let the stream go on for like an hour and a half and then pick the winner? I want to give people enough time to put in. But I also don't want to make anybody feel like I'm making you hang out all night long for it. It is 8:36 according to my desktop clock. So I'm gonna go by 8:37 actually, but I'm gonna go by my clock here because it's easier for me to keep track of. Uh I've never done anything with oil paints at all, so I'm a little intimidated by them. You also always have the urge to draw and never have any ideas. Yeah, so I know what you mean. Especially when like I'm really stressed out or I've been working on a lot of projects, it's always like, oh, I wish I had, like, I want to draw something creative, but I'm not getting any ideas. And I have found, I'm gonna try to pull it up for you guys. Give me just a sec. But I found this character generator that is pretty low key, but still fun. So it's art prompts, and you can do all kinds of different prompts with it. I sent you the link earlier. Do you prefer to get it by email though? Words. Tyra, send me an email. Thanks, Inside Out Complex.
When did you set
What?
the stream OBS to be on? It's just black.
Oh, it's supposed to be on my monitor. It's supposed to be art prompts. Sorry about that, guys. I'll have a desk and monitor, and I'll just drop a link for you guys. Sorry about that.
You should just minimize OBS.
And, well, sometimes I like to check it to make sure everything is squared up. So, put that aside. I'll actually tape it to this so it's a little sturdier. But Princess Pie, I hope this will work for your OCs. I tried to, because you can't see their faces in the ref you sent me, I gave the wild one a little bit of like a kind of an outgoing, energetic girl face, and the mild one kind of a sweet, oh, thank you, Anna, kind of a sweet, easygoing sort of face. And I tried to like bring those aspects to their outfits. So like the wild one has kind of cut off sleeves on her hoodie, whereas the mild one has rolled them up. I made her strawberries into like little heart-shaped strawberries. I made the orange lemons a little sharper. The wild one's wearing cutoff shorts. The mild one is wearing little running shorts. She's got little tennis shoes on, like she's a careful kind of gal, whereas the wild one's wearing cute little sandals. And then I gave them both matching friendship bracelets. So, but I'll show you guys a little bit of what I've drawn using the character generator. So they don't have to be great, like it's just a sketchbook doodle, and my goal is just to kind of do one every day or every other day, just based on whatever they give me. So this one was hippie, and this one was punk elf. And this one was, I swear they were describing Anna Green Gables because it's like a redheaded girl with freckles across her cheeks. And then this one was Steampunk Maid. And this one was Injured Royal Messenger. And this one was Fallen Angel. This one was like Greek athlete, so I did like Cupid flexing. And I also, oh, okay. This one was about like a princess who was really excited, like she wore her crown proudly. This one was, it was something about like a blonde girl, a girl with fair hair dancing. Oh, it was, she had fair hair and like a large ornate flower, and I decided to draw her dancing. This one was about someone waking up in the middle of the night, like startled, or I think he woke up screaming. I don't know. They give kind of detailed prompts sometimes, and I don't memorize them. This one was about, it was like a lonely kitty. So I was thinking about like, oh, what's the saddest kitty kind of things. This one was about someone staring out the window and watching the snowfall. So I drew a kid who's sick in bed for the day and he'd rather be out sledding. And I think that's all I have for today. Oh no, well now you can grab again. And if you are looking for some more good art resources, I'll grab them for you. So Senshi Stock has a daily pose, or not a daily pose, it's like a pose generator. And there's like a timer on it. So something I really like to do is just practice warming up with her poses. And what's nice is she wears a leotard for them, so they're all safe for work. Oh yeah. And then one of my favorite art challenges is the 30-day art improvement hell challenge. And I always start it and I never finish it. Ah, I thought I grabbed the link. Would you guys like me to do a figure drawing walkthrough on how I construct figures? I can pull up Senshi Stock again and work from that. Oh, Kino Kitsune already dropped it for me. Thank you. I've never done the 100 head challenge in 10 days. I've done 100 head challenges before where I just draw as many as I can until I hit 100. But I've never tried to break it down into 10 days. Yeah, the picture is probably, yeah, I'm sorry. Did it stall out? What the, why are you doing this? Sorry, I'm talking to my I want to pull up Senshi Stock and work from a pose.
OBS just doesn't show the screen while OBS is open.
I know. You've said that. Okay, so can you guys see that pose? I have it pulled up on Senshi Stock and I paused it so you guys can work along with me if you want to. So usually when I do daily warm-ups, I use Senshi Stock a lot, but I've also been using Croquis Cafe here on YouTube. So this is one of the Senshi Stock ones. And I try to get it done in 10 minutes. And the point isn't necessarily to do great figure drawing. It's just to get back into the habit of warming up. So I usually start with a line of action. And you guys can see she's kind of doing a tee-hee thing. So her shoulders are a little further back than where her feet are. There's a little bit of a sway to the pose. Then I start by blocking in a rectangle for her torso. And with this rectangle, you guys can see I've curved it in towards the waist, but you can just start with like a regular rectangle while you're kind of practicing this type of anatomy. Then I draw sort of an oval shape, and that's her rib cage. And when I do videos about this, I usually refer to it as an egg shape. And then I draw kind of an oblong shape to kind of block in where her pelvis is going to be. at the top of that egg, I draw an ellipse. That's going to be where her neck is. And those are just contour lines to help me kind of figure out the forms of her torso. Then for her pelvis, I draw kind of like an axle like you would on a car. And then I block in her arms and legs just using sticks, like stick figures to begin with. So I don't really refine anything at this stage. I'm just trying to get everything down on paper, everything kind of figured out, everything blocked in. Because if I mess this up and it looks terrible, at this stage I can just scrap the whole thing or throw a piece of tracing paper on top of it. So that's her legs. I draw just a little curved line to help me keep in mind where the neck's gonna go. And then I do kind of an oval shape for her head. And I draw kind of a bow shape to indicate where, like how her arms are connected across the back. So kind of like her collarbone, but not really. And when I'm drawing from reference like this, I really, even though I'm not necessarily concerned about doing a great drawing, I'm concerned about getting things accurate enough, because when you do these sort of figure drawing practices, you're building up a mental vocabulary of poses. So the more you do, the easier it's going to be for you to draw poses in the future. And then I just kind of block in where her hands are using kind of like mittens or oval shapes. Okay, so I have just kind of a basic stick figure, and I know all of you guys can do stick figures like this. So the next stage is I start doing, they're kind of like cylinders. So just like a geometry refresher, a cylinder is like a Dr. Pepper can or a Coke can, like this. For arms and legs, they are usually thinner at the wrist and then get thicker again. It really depends on what I'm doing. I need to practice doing exaggerated poses again, because I draw kind of cartoony, and a big part of comic storytelling involves exaggerated poses, exaggerated acting. But I've fallen out of the habit of doing more realistic figure drawing, so I wanted to kind of get back into it. So I will kind of vary how I'm drawing. There is a period of time where I was doing a 100 pose challenge, and it was just in my sketchbook. I wasn't really sharing it with anybody, and it was just like quick 60-second gesture poses every day, and I had to do 20 of them every day because I was trying to get faster at drawing and faster at drawing simplified poses and capturing the human form. So I have the arms kind of sketched in. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the legs. And this is based on a couple of different artists who I really respect their methods of doing anatomy. The Glenn Vilppu method, and there's some stuff of his here on YouTube. And I mean, the dude is a master. He used to work for Disney, and he's probably in his 90s now, and he's still recording content to help other artists. So I really recommend you guys look him up. And then Andrew Loomis, who was an illustrator in the 40s and the 50s, and he has Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, which is great, and Drawing the Head and Hands. You should be able to get those from your library. At least Figure Drawing for All It's Worth. If they don't have it, you can fill out a request because they're back in print. And if you fill out a library request, that means the library is going to order that and have it on their shelves for you and for other artists who are interested in it. So if there's ever a book you're interested in reading and you can't afford it or you don't want to buy it, fill out a library request. Okay, so I have a really basic human form now, and all we really did to polish this was just kind of flesh out the arms and legs. So next, I'm going to start working on her face. So I use a sphere for like the top part of her skull. And then I draw kind of like a shovel or a spade shape going down from that sphere. And then I place a middle eye, and then on either side of the middle eye, I place her other two eyes. And I apologize, I know it's getting a little hard to see. So I can already see that I drew this wrong. These hands should be a little bit further over that way. So if I wasn't streaming right now, I would slap a piece of tracing paper on it and redraw it, because the point is getting the practice in. Thank you, Madeline. That is an excellent Loomis resource, but I really do recommend you try and get it from your library, or you place a library request, because when we support books like this in a meaningful way, they continue to publish them so other artists have access to them later. Oh, Jen, I have videos on figure drawing here on the channel as well. Like, I have a lot of them. Probably the reason I took the other one down is it's 4 hours. It's a 4-hour stream, and I was like, nobody wants to see a 4-hour stream all over again. And then at this stage, after I've got everything kind of marked in, I start filling in the details. So I never really work one area. I work everything kind of at the same time, and that is, you know, for placement, but also if I need to scrap it, it means I'm not super invested in this gorgeous hand I drew. If you guys are interested, on Fridays we can start Power Hour with everybody does a drawing from reference. So I'll pull the reference up and we'll all work on drawing it together. Because I know a little bit of accountability helps a lot. And doing something with like a group of people often makes it easier to do it regularly. And since I drew her hands wrong in the reference, I'm going to redraw them here to the side. So depending on the shape, like the gesture of the hands, I will kind of rough them in different ways. So since her fingers are really close together, there's no like big gaps, or they're not like this or like that. I kind of draw them in as flipper shapes with the thumb kind of distinct. And even this, if you're doing thumbnails, even this is enough information to know how you're going to want to draw the hands later. And my drawing style is really cartoony, so I don't worry too much about joints and knuckles in the hands. We technically have 3, but a lot of comic artists will just draw 2. And some comic artists, like with Steven Universe, for example, they don't necessarily put any joints in the fingers at all. They just kind of curl to suit the needs of the image. So depending on the style you draw in, and this is something I recommend you do every day, even if, you know, they don't look great at first. They do get better. And I recommend working through Loomis's Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, copying his illustrations, and then finding photos and kind of applying the principles he taught in those illustrations to the photos, if that makes sense. Like, treat it like a workbook. Am I still working on drawing botanicals? I've had to take a break from that. I miss it. Like, I really, really miss it. I've had to take a break from that for a while because, like Joseph said, I'm painting Kara right now, and I'm teaching a class, and then I'm also working on a comic pitch, so I'm pretty busy. That's true, Ink Guy, but I'm really dissatisfied with the lighting quality and with the aspect ratio from that 4-hour stream. If enough of y'all are interested in the alcohol marker part of that, though, we can definitely re-release it. Ooh, I'm sorry, Jen. Well, if you guys want me to re-release that stream, I will. I'm happy. I'm happy to if people are actually interested in it. Yeah, when I say, so copying is a really interesting topic, and I know there's a lot of heat about it. For example, let's say I take a picture of my cat Bowie. Do I have a Discord? I have a Discord, and I'm going to make a Discord for art-related chats. Like, I keep talking. Actually, I have it. Why am I even pretending like I don't have it? Give me a sec. I just haven't done anything with it. I want to open it up to my patrons and just make it kind of like a general community for artists. Yep, that is a no. I mean, I do understand, but it keeps trying to connect this other Discord channel with it keeps trying to disconnect Inkdrop Cafe to my patron, and that's not mine to connect. So I've passed over ownership for IDC, so hopefully I can set the paint box up for that. And I see people are joining. Welcome, you guys. I will look at that later because that is very distracting, and I am very distractible. So I'm actually going to grab some of the succulents I've painted. I mean, if you guys want to see me paint a succulent tonight, I could do a quick one, I think. Is Lindsay in the channel? Because Lindsay requested a demonstration of these sort of multicolor pencils, and I was kind of waiting until Lindsay came in.
No, she's not in chat.
Okay. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and swatch for you guys and now I can't tell which one I used and which one I didn't. Copying things that you own the rights to is okay. So if it is like those Dover clip art kind of books, those are designed to be copied from, to be photocopied, to be used as clip art. If I had permission from Kino Kitsune to use some of, like, Kino Kitsune makes these really gorgeous lace and like tone brushes. And would you drop a link for that, Kino? And part of the TOS is that we're allowed to use them for original works, so that's okay. Or if I take a photograph myself and I copy that, that's okay. The big problem with copying is when you are using someone else's work and you're passing it off as your own or something you drew without, yeah, obviously, if you buy books and stuff, read the license. But when I'm talking about copying for exercises, you like, okay, I'll show you guys. So when I'm reading manga, I want to improve my art. And yeah, y'all should, if you do digital art, Kino Kitsune's brushes are amazing. I love them so much. When I'm reading manga, since I'm trying to improve my art again, I will kind of copy what I like from those illustrations in my sketchbook. This isn't for anyone to see. This isn't to impress anyone. I'm showing you guys just to demonstrate. I copy the illustrations. I don't trace them. I copy them. So I'm learning, I'm training my hand, and I'm also making notes about why it works, what I like about it. And then I will take what I learned from their illustrations and draw my characters the same way. So that's me kind of internalizing their methods and kind of figuring out how I can adapt what works for them to my art. And that's just part of being an artist, is you see things, you're inspired by them, you figure out how they work, you make them work for yourself. Or like, and I need to get back to doing it because I really enjoyed doing this. Like these are some studies from Yotsuba, volume 14. Like, I love how he drew the impressed, amazed eyes. They're really, really cute. I wanted to figure out how I can make them work on Kara. The same goes for Yotsuba's panic face. Her panic face is just so cute. So I thought it would work really well for Kara. I don't know, not quite so much. It needs some more tweaking. Or these are from Cells at Work, volume 5, and he draws these beautiful crying faces. So that was something I wanted to kind of figure out how that worked as well, like why his crying faces work, why they're so pretty. So when you're copying to learn how something works, why something looks good, that's a different thing. I'm not passing these off as my own. I'm not showing these like, look at what I drew. I drew it and I did. They're 100% mine. Like, I'm telling you where the source is from. That copying for education is all right. Copying to pass it off as your own is not okay. Okay, so I'm going to swatch these. And then I'm going to demonstrate these, and then if we still have time, so I'll swatch these and then we're gonna pick a winner. So would somebody, Joseph just dropped the link for the raffle, and I have a completely unopened, untested set. I haven't even taken it out of here. Amazon sent me 2. I paid for 2, but the listing didn't say 2, so I'm gonna find a new home for it. And I guess I'm going to swatch it in a handbook field watercolor journal tonight. So that's cellulose-based paper. Give me a second, and I will just... Oh yeah, I have a lot of watercolor tutorials and information here on this channel, as well as at nattosoup.blogspot.com. If you guys read that and you have any further questions, I'm more than happy to help you. So there are 12 colors in this set. It's the Pastel Dream set. It's mostly focused around pastel colors. So a lot of these colors have a lot of white added to them. The colors in this palette are brown, chocolate, crimson, rose, lemonade, citrus, bumblebee, sea dream, paradise, pool party, icy sky, and lilac rain. And I have a full unbox and swatch video for this palette coming up soon. So you guys are kind of getting a sneak peek. They activate fairly quickly. And they're fairly opaque colors, and they will muddy your water super fast. So I would not recommend these watercolors if you do a lot of layers. I would recommend, if you're going to do, hi Chloe, good evening, 1 or 2 layers and that's it. I would also not recommend this palette if you want to mix colors, but we can do a mixing demonstration with these if you like. Oh, go to sleep, Hunter. Thank you for hanging out. No problem, Lindsay. So I am going to finish swatching these Pastel Dreams. We're going to pick a winner, so you still have time to put in for the raffle. And then I'm going to demonstrate the multicolor pencils. And then if there's still time, I might paint a succulent using my set. I mean, you know, like Alphonse Mucha, right? Like probably every manga inspired artist has done some homage to Mucha's work. So, I mean, it's obviously very inspired by his work. But it's still different enough that it's not his work. You wouldn't think it's his work necessarily. So, I think that's a good example of like taking somebody else's vision and borrowing from it without stealing it. Ooh, get to it, Tyra. Oh, I am raffling off. I got sent two. This one is completely unopened. I haven't checked it at all. It could be, I mean, it's the same set. It says Pastel Dreams on it, but for all I know, they could have switched it out and have an Odyssey in there. But I'm raffling off the second one since Amazon sent me two. It was like an order for two. Get Kino Kitsune started on copyright law. Kino Kitsune loves talking about it. Okay, so I want to remove this without it spilling all over. That's about half the swatches. Don't do this at home, kids. You might lop off a finger. This is why when I first started my channel, or when I first started recording art tutorials on my channel, I always had bandages on my hands. Because I don't do very smart things sometimes. There is a Rafflecopter link up there, so you just follow the instructions. In fact, Joseph just posted it. You just follow the instructions for that. I think all I ask is that you tweet that you're hanging out in this stream tonight. Next time I raffle something of mine off, I'll come up with something a little more challenging than that, but not too much more. And some of the colors are so light, you know, you almost can't see them. I swatched it on black paper. I'll grab that for you guys. I swatched it on black paper the other day. They do show up on darker papers. They're not gouache. They're not going to handle like gouache. We'll enter the raffle, Inside Out. They are muted on darker papers. There are some flaws with this set. I found the watercolors to be a little bit gritty. They could be really fun for doing cute sketches though. So like, you know, these, as long as you know these paints are gonna kind of be their own thing, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't mix these with like my Daniel Smith paints or like my Winsor Newton paints. But, you know, I would definitely use them with other Prima Marketing paints or with the Jane, oh, what's her name? Can't believe I forget it. She does all the mermaid stuff. Davenport. It's like the same kind of paints. No, it's very cheap. I paid $20 and they sent me 2 palettes. So they usually go for around $15 for one palette if you can find just one palette. And the Prima Marketing site, in fact, I've reviewed other Prima Marketing watercolors on my channel. If you search for Watercolor Confections Tropical and Watercolor Confections Brights, I have reviews and field tests where I paint an illustration using those paints and explain like what I like about them, what I don't like about them. I haven't had a chance to do the field test with these yet. So transparent watercolors will maybe tint darker papers, but you're not gonna, like if you do like a blue, it's not gonna look like blue. Do they have skin tones and stuff? Yeah, actually they do. Prima released a skin tone set recently. I haven't had a chance to play with them yet. But there's a couple of skin tones in this set. Actually, the brown chocolate is a really pretty kind of skin tone. If you water it down, you can get lighter skin tones, and then it's kind of a nice, like a medium brown, kind of a warm golden brown. I mean, it wouldn't be my end-all be-all for skin tones, but I think there's some decent range for it. So I look forward to getting to do the field test with these. No, they didn't make a mistake, because originally I thought it was just for one, and then I went and looked at my Amazon order because I was going to send them the second one back, and it says 2 for like the item amount. So it's like, whoop. Yeah. So I was at Michael's today, and Jane Davenport's newer product line is very makeup themed. So everything comes in like makeup palettes like you would see on AliExpress, and they're pretty, but I can't even tell what they're meant to be used for. Like and I feel like with art supplies, if I can't tell like if it's a watercolor or if it's a pastel immediately, I'm not gonna buy it. And then the makeup line is also very overpriced. Like, she's selling brush pins for $8 when you can go an aisle over and find nicer brush pins by Copic and by Sakura of America. So it's kind of like, I mean, like, I like that she's offering it in a form factor that some people may be more comfortable with using. They may feel more comfortable because they have more experience with makeup than they necessarily do with like watercolors. Like, I like that. I don't like the price. I'm not excited about the quality. I've never been super impressed by the quality of any of her products. Okay, so those are swatches for the Pastel Dreams palette. Oh my gosh, yeah, Lindsay, he put in so much work earlier this week. Okay, so it is 9:15. Are you guys ready for me to select a winner? Are you guys ready to see who wins the watercolor confection set? Now I have to find my raffle link. Or I guess I can ask Mr. Joseph to pick our winner. Would you mind picking our winner, Mr. Joseph?
Yeah, I can click it.
You gonna do it? All right, Joseph is clicking our winner. Drum roll. As like I'm knocking everything on my desk over. Lindsay won. Congratulations, Lindsay. Send me. Oh, he could. Do you want to come over? Do you want to come over and announce it? He said no. Send me an email with your mailing address, and I will send this out to you. Thank you guys so much for playing. It was a lot of fun, and I know I'm going to be raffling other things in the future. So if you guys enjoyed it, we will do this again. Well, I can drop a link for this one here if you guys are feeling it. And there's other pastel watercolors too. I'll drop 2. I'll show you which ones I was considering. It says 1 pack on the listing now. Okay, this is the Pastel Dreams palette. And they sent me 2, but it says 1. And it's actually $4 more expensive. I paid $20 at the time I bought it. So I wouldn't pay that for 1. Somebody asked about a skin tone palette. I did. And re-recorded it, and Chris edited it, and it should be live. I can do it on camera if you like. Like, we can do that tonight if you want to see it. Okay, I have not used, wait, sorry. I have not used this palette, so this is not an endorsement. It's just somebody asked about skin tone palettes. And then this was the other pastel palette I was thinking about trying. But I think no, this is cheaper. This is way cheaper. Yeah. Next time, maybe. Okay, I'm gonna let these dry. So last week, Lindsay asked about those multicolor pencils. So there's quite a few people who make them. What do I have here? Okay, I have a Koh Noir. I have a Cretacolor. I don't remember who made this. I got this in San Francisco. And then Crayola makes them, and I know I have more than this. And then these are also Koh Noir, but they're smaller and they have fewer colors in them. And I really want to zoom in. I'll just hold it because it's on a weighted arm. And my little, my little webcam isn't heavy enough to hold it down. So this is one of the Koh Noir Magic. And these are usually sold in sets of 3. I bought this open stock from a Dick Blick. And it's got like yellow, magenta, and blue. So this is without me twisting the pencil at all. And I'm sorry if it's jerky. I am raising and lowering. Trying to get to focus.
It's not such autofocus.
Okay. Well, I'm raising and lowering the webcam by hand. So if it's a little shaky, it's just because my hands are shaky. So the thing about this one is I know a lot of us have seen people on Instagram using these multicolored pencils to do these really beautiful drawings where you can get a lot of different colors in a small area, but they all kind of make sense together. So you can kind of twist this one in order to get the color you want, but they're so close together, it's a little bit harder to control. The Cretacolor is more like a circus tent. So they're more of like a spiral kind of thing, and you get yellow, green, red, and blue. And these are in larger patches, so you can actually turn the pencil to get more of what you're looking for. And then this thing here, you can get them in packs of 12 over on Amazon. I wasn't going to commit to a pack of 12 before I tried one. And there's like 7 colors in here. Yellow, orange, red, blue, light blue, green. That is not 7. I think that's 6. I cannot count. And this is the one I see people using more often over on Instagram in order to get those like multi-chroma drawings. And I haven't had much of a chance to experiment with it too much, but it seems a little bit easier to control. It's also smaller, so it's not going to hurt your hand as much. And the lead's actually pretty buttery. So this one I think is probably a pretty good pick if you're going to do those multi-chroma colors. And then we have the smaller Koh-i-Noor tricolor pencils. I think I got these either in various art snacks or sketch boxes. And they have like a checkerboard pattern to them, so it's pretty hard to control, but they have like a really pretty blended color. So these are intended to be blended like from the get-go. You're never going to get just like magenta out of it. And they're all so close in color, at least all the ones I have are so close in color that you never get like an interesting fleck of like green. The most interesting one is this one, which is tropical. Because it's dark blue, light blue, and yellow. So you get kind of a neat green effect with this one. And then finally, Crayola Signature released some. And I have a unboxing video about these. And you get 12 different color sets, and they're very similar to the Koh-i-Noor in that there's 3 colors in each, but they're all sort of the same, like purple, it's all purples together with purples, that kind of thing. So you never get any interesting standout colors, which is what I kind of like about those rainbow pencils. They're moderately buttery. They're not too hard on the hands. I use a regular, let me show you actually what I use. I'm pretty picky about my pencil sharpeners, and I exclusively use KUM sharpeners. These are the best sharpeners I've ever found. You can get them through like Jerry's Artorama, Dick Blick. But I haven't, like, are you asking because there's so many colors, like, you're afraid it might, like, start to disintegrate if you use the wrong sharpener? Because, like, I could see that happening with some of these.
So is it the same material as a color pencil?
Yeah, these are,
All mixed
yeah,
together?
these, it's just multiple color pencil leads, it seems like. And I'm going to finish swatching. Do they burnish like other color pencils? You know what? I have no idea. I've never tried. I did not like them. I mean, they're okay, but I'm not a color pencil person. Document black ink. Yeah, you know, I really like the pigmented fountain pen ink. So I've tried some Diatramentis colors, and they're nice. Some of them are not as waterproof as others. And I'm kind of looking around because I have like a little sketchbook where I do, where I used to do water fastness tests with fountain pen inks. And I feel like I remember Diatramentis Black not being at, so like fountain pen people call waterproof to fountain pen people is not the same as waterproof to watercolor people. Waterproof just means you can spill water or Coke or coffee on it and you can still read it after. Whereas for watercolor people, obviously we want it to not smear all over the place. Yes, Lindsay, that is definitely the case. But if you're interested in messing around with different inks and finding the right ones for you, Goulet Pens does ink samples. And I think Anderson Pens does as well. Give me one sec. I'll be right back. this is one of the books that I do some of the testing in. So it's a newer one, so I don't have as many tests in it. I know I have some in here. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Why did I skip all those pages? So sometimes with fountain pen inks, I like to test them as like an easy way to do ink wash. So that's kind of what these tests are. This is Apache Sunset. It is so pretty. Shading is like kind of like the color gamut you can get from it. You can get this really nice like sepia brown all the way to like a dandelion or a buttercup yellow. And some of them are a little harder to control than others. And then this was done with like a Noodler's Apache, and I think it's a J. Urban ink, and then I spritzed it with a water bottle to get that spray effect. Yeah, platinum carbon black, if we're talking about a black fountain pen ink that you can use to ink your drawings and then watercolor over it, platinum carbon black is the way to go. Any of those pigmented inks are going to be great. Oh, who does the Storia inks? Sailor does the Storia inks. Those are also phenomenal. Do you happen to know where the fountain pen ink drawings, like their watercolors, and I've taken them out of this book? Do you know where they would be? Yes, please. That's Sam, and that Once Upon a Time is our shared fountain pen blog that neither of us update as much as we should. This is one of the watercolor examples. Kino Kitsune just linked Once Upon a Time, which is the fountain pen blog we both run, and that one has more of my watercolor tests like this. So this was inked originally with, I thought it was Storia, like Sailor Storia Nights, but as I'm looking at it, it's probably Platinum's blue pigment ink, and it is very waterproof. And I have more of these. I've done like 20 of them. I just don't know where they are. Oh, that's cool. Drop me a link and I'll try to do that. I love those colors, and you can't get them easily in the US. I own their Cherry Blossom Pink, which I picked up when I was in Tokyo last March. Okay, so I promised y'all a succulent. Now I just have to find... There we go. And I make no promises as to how good this will turn out, but it'll be fun to see. So often when I'm doing my little succulent paintings, I will sketch it out with like a colored lead. So last week I got a request from someone who wants to see me use Posca markers on a plastic object. So that's probably going to take up most of next week's stream. I'll still start with some sketch requests, but thank you. Yeah, I'd like to check those out, especially if I can get them to send them to the US. And if there's ever like any other kind of product demonstrations or reviews you guys want to see, you can either let me know in the request form or you can ask in chat. I know Kino Kitsune mentioned the Primatech colors, which I can definitely do on stream if y'all like. And I am painting on fluid 100 paper right now, which is a cellulose-based watercolor paper, so it's going to be a little bit more forgiving than what I usually do. Yeah, I can do that. I think I've done it in the past, but I can do it again. Oh no. Lindsay, I'm so sorry to hear that. Normally I just kill them because I overwater them. That is heartbreaking. Oh, for sure, especially since some houseplants can be kind of toxic to cats. It was just too tempting. So I don't know if my camera's picking it up, but I'm definitely seeing some of the grittiness from these. Also, there's just like, okay, so this is obviously not a mixing palette. So this complaint is not really necessarily the most valid complaint, but it's hard to build up kind of depth of color with these because there's just nowhere to go. Like we get one green, we get three pinks, we get two yellows, we get one green, we get three blues, and we get a purple and two browns. Oh, no problem. I hate that stuff. I I feel like it really exemplifies everything that is not right with art and comics. So I don't really want to get into that kind of stuff myself. I have it from a pretty reputable source that a lot of the drama videos are actually for like, it's not like those two artists actually have a problem with each other. It's more for like clicks. I mean, I wouldn't say every one like that is fake, but I think a lot of them are staged. So that's not really something I necessarily want to get too much into myself. I used to get into shenanigans when I was on LiveJournal a million years ago. I don't need to do that again. So I have a non-porous craft mat down on my desk, and I'm using that as kind of like a palette, just like a mixing surface, because I can use a rag and just wipe it off super easy. Oh no, I will. Oh, I have no problem making fun of a brand. Like if it's not like somebody's handmade stuff, I will make fun of brands. I will definitely talk drama about brands if they do something I don't like, or if they're overcharging or overpromising and underdelivering. That I will do. I don't see anything wrong with calling out brands when they're misbehaving. Sorry. But individuals, no, I don't want to. I don't want to make somebody else harder. I mean, brands always have the option to kind of step up their game, you know, offer more, or treat their customers better, or, you know, like they have more leeway. Whereas individuals, most people are just doing the best they can. Why are the watercolors gritty granulating? I think it's the quality of they're not granulating, it is grit. Like granulation is going to give you like Daniel Smith watercolors have a lot of granulation in them, and that doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with how they're milled. They can be finely milled and still kind of granulate. These are, I think they're just not very finely milled, or perhaps the optical brighteners that they use, because these are all pastels, right? They have like a lot of white in them, and that's usually pigment white, or PW6, PW8, right? So that can be from chalk, it can be from talc, it can be from titanium, but there's definitely a lot of optical brighteners, a lot of additional white in it to make it pastel. Now with watercolors, often we would create pastels like one of two ways: either from the white of the paper and you just apply a very thin wash, or by mixing in Chinese white to like a regular full strength color. So I think it's probably the quality of these paints, which is weird because I've used Prima Marketing paints a couple of other times, and they're not that bad. They're not my favorite. Y'all don't see me pulling them out to paint with them, but you'll see me pull out the Komorebi set. But they're just not that good. And I mean, I say that, and there's people on Instagram who do really beautiful stuff with these kind of watercolors, and even with this set. So, you know, that is just my opinion based on my experience. Different artists are going to be able to do different things with it. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, life is too stressful as it is to go picking fights. I'll pick fights to get comics in libraries. That's my that's my fight. That's the hill I'm gonna die on. Also, there's like the whole like if you don't want none, you don't start none. Yep, yep. We'll talk art supply drama. Ooh, okay. All right. That's kind of a nice color. They might have to. They might have to raise their commission price. I mean, like, that's what we're supposed to do, you know? We're supposed to raise our prices based on, like, when con table prices go up, which they do. They used to be 75, now they're average 100, and some of them are like 150 to 200. We're supposed to raise our prices, but, like, it's really hard to convince some of the customers that you're not trying to screw them over. You're not trying to just take their money. You need to break even, and you would just pay double to get in the show. And I mean, a lot of them feel that way because they haven't tabled themselves, so they don't know how expensive those tables are. A lot of people think we get our tables for free. We do not. Some people think the con pays us to be there. I've had people accuse me of that. Like, I can't believe you're charging for art. The con pays you to be here. Like, no, they don't. I paid to be at this con. I like over here where I kind of loosened up and started taking more chances. You can kind of tell I've warmed up a little bit. Ooh, okay. That's like a really, I like that like eggy, bright new green color. That's nice. Yes, I really like Blix markers. In fact, last week I was using them a fair bit on Tyra's commission, which I need to mail. No commissions got packed this week either because I'm sorry. I'm gonna do it tomorrow and try to get them out either tomorrow or Monday though. If Tyra's still in here, email me with your mailing address and I'll get that packed as soon as possible. That goes for anybody who I have like one of their requests and I was like, I'm just going to charge the cost of mailing. If you can get to me with your mailing address, that would help. And I think some of you probably did, and I just need to go through my emails. The classes, I teach a comics class through Community Ed here, and my class started this week, so my head's been kind of there. Oh, maybe I should start one of those someday. Oh, I do have a brown. So the background is actually like a dark blue green, and I just don't think I can get to there from here, if that makes sense. But I do have a couple of browns, which maybe the purple would be better. Let's see what the purple looks like mixed with the blue. Ooh, they get really chalky. Like I can mush them around now. That is for sure. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like they take a percentage of your sales. I mean, I've done both ways. There was a time when I was doing a lot of botanical studies and I was really trying to practice depth of field so that I could use that in Cara later. Because I do that pretty, or I try to do that pretty frequently with Cara. Another thing about these watercolors is they're cheap. They're cheap watercolors, like they're cheaply made, and you're going to end up using a lot of them while you paint because just to get the depth of color that you're looking for, it's going to take a lot more paint. And there's also a high likelihood. See how I'm like kind of layering them, and I haven't introduced any other brands to it, and I'm still getting like it's kind of verging on that mud territory because we don't have a lot of colors to add contrast with this. I mean, it could be worth your while, Jen. No, it's not possible to have a dark value pastel. And I mean that then it wouldn't be a pastel, right? Um, and then someone proves me wrong, and then I learn a thing. Now I'm just messing around with it. Wow, dang, Jen. That is a lot of painting. Oh. I think I'm going to treat it like I would an origami painting and let it dry and then ink it. And that's going to give us some darker values. It's also going to give us, it's going to like, because you see I left all these islands to prevent it from bleeding too much. Oh, these take a long time to dry, and because they're so chalky, they kind of wick the paint into other colors. Oh, no problem, Lindsay. I feel a little bad because as I'm painting with my set, I'm like ragging on them a little bit. But I hope you really enjoy them. I bought them because other artists on Instagram made them look really good. That's really why I fell into that trap. Where I was like, oh, but it would look so good if I did X, Y, or Z with it. It's also very wet, and it's going to take a long pick and choose the colors, but it would work better. Yeah, I feel like if I... Yeah, it is. So I want to do a field test with these, and I definitely don't plan on using this palette as my only palette. Yeah, I've used oil pastels in the past. I used to really enjoy them. The problem I had is the ones I was using weren't archival, so they lost, they just kind of shed after a while. I was using Sakura of America's Crepa. And they're fun and they're very inexpensive. They just, you know, they're not forever. Oh, nice. It gives you room to grow. I'll be interested to see how these look when they're dry. Give me a second. Well, I mean, you shared it anyway, but I'm still going to turn it off to just desk and click it. Oh, nice. I like that. Oh, I'm following you. Good. Yeah, I've been enjoying your art. Reminding me, I'm going to... So, I think I will probably finish this off stream if that's cool with y'all, because it's gonna take a really long time to dry. It's pretty pooled, and I don't want this to be another 4-hour stream. I feel like I really tried everyone's patience with that last time. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this evening. I really enjoyed it. Maybe so. Krylon makes a couple of different spray fixatives that I've really liked, and their matte finish, no, their workable fixative allows you to kind of work on top of it so you can build up layers. But I think I am going to call it an evening. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really enjoyed it. Congrats, Lindsay. I'm going to get people's stuff packaged up so I can send it out this week because I have held on to it for far too long. Oh yeah, I need to plug my Patreon before everybody leaves. So to fund what I do here, to fund purchasing and reviewing these kind of products, to fund the amount of time I put into these videos, to fund paying for our editor, I have a Patreon. You guys can check it out at patreon.com/natosoup. Joseph dropped a link for it. Yeah, we fixed the ratio this week. It's $2 to join, and I send my wonderful art nerds all kinds of early access stuff. They get early access to my Making Comics class materials. So if you don't live in Nashville and you're jelly that you don't get to take the Making Comics class, you can get access to the materials I create for that class by joining my Patreon. They also get early access to videos. They also get priority when it comes to these sort of streams. So that means I do their sketch requests first. Now, one of my patrons did send me something to draw this week, but I didn't have Google permission. Like I couldn't access the folder. That is why I didn't do their illustration this week, but I will hopefully, fingers crossed, do it next week. So I think that's about the long and short of it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I had a really good time. It was a pleasure. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's ever anything you want to see me demonstrate live, let me know using the request form that Joseph has already dropped, which I appreciate it. So it's not just for me to draw your OCs, although I can totally draw your OCs, or if you've got a kid or if you've got a pet and you'd like to see how they look in my art style, you are totally welcome to send that, and I will try to get to it. Next week, I am doing a thing with Posca markers. So if you guys like Posca markers or are interested, you should come around and check that out. I am sort of thinking about moving the stream an hour earlier. And so that would be 7 p.m. CST since we tend to run long. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. And I dropped a link for the paint box, which is the Discord channel I set up a million years ago for my art nerds, and I will drop another link for you guys. I do have videos of the classes last week's or this week's. I did not turn the shotgun mic on, so I didn't catch any audio, which is a shame on me, but generally I do have audio for those classes, and I also record bonus content for the students in my classes, and my art nerds get that as well. So I'll see you guys next week. Let me know how you feel about me moving the stream an hour earlier, starting at 7 p.m. CST, which would be 8 p.m. for you Eastern folks. Anyway, bye guys.